Here's an opinion piece. Radical Democrats are pretty reasonable by Paul Krugman. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez upset primary victory has produced a huge amount of punditry about the supposed radicalization of the Democratic Party, how it's going to hurt our party, positions won't sell in the Midwest. We just talked about how much bullshit that is, by the way. This won't sell in the Midwest. Oh, you mean the area where they freaking love Bernie? The area where unions are still strong? The area where DSA candidates are seeing some victories? It won't sell there. Yeah, it won't sell there. You know, coastal elitism is part of the reason the Democrats are wiped out, right? You know, that's part of the reason the Democrats are totally wiped out. And, yeah, I used to travel the highways in this country 40-plus weeks a year, and I can promise you, we're not as different as we think we are. We're not. We're just not. And I said that on stage in Alabama, you know, because people were like, welcome to Alabama, it's different. I'm like, no, you're really not that different. You're not. I mean, yes, are there, generally speaking, maybe less progressives in certain areas? Certainly. Absolutely. Sure. You know, and admittedly, wow. Ugh. Admittedly, on the Progressive Comedy Tour, our ticket sales were lowest in Alabama. That's true. Not going to deny that. Now, the people that came were freaking awesome. We had a small but mighty bunch. And those progressives in Alabama, it was awesome to see them. So, yeah, are there places where numerically we might be a little smaller? Certainly. But, you know, across this country, we're not as different as we think we are. And, yeah, anyway, let's get back to this piece. So here's what you should know. The policy ideas are definitely bold, and you can make some substantive arguments against them. Can you? Can you? The policy ideas are policies that most other countries as developed... I take that back. All other countries as developed as ours, many with less wealth than ours, take for granted. They take them for granted. These are policies Canada takes for granted. France takes for granted. Italy takes for granted. England takes for granted. Germany takes for granted. Switzerland takes for granted. The Netherlands take for granted. That's what these policies are. What can you argue against them? What can you argue against? Oh, well, the health insurance industry, it's a sixth of our economy, so we need a baby step. We had our baby step. We had Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, which was basically, it was Romney Care. But we had our baby step. You had your baby step. It's time for single payer. Your baby step's over. The baby step has made things marginally better compared to the nothing that we had, while also exposing the flaws of the insurance industry. And by flaws, I mean corruptness. So it's time. You can't argue against it. You can't argue against single payer at this point, unless your argument is, I don't think healthcare is something people should have. In which case, you're a very demented, sick person. And hopefully your health insurance policy covers mental health because you frickin' need it. Anyway, getting back to this piece. So I don't see what you can really argue. But they aren't crazy. No, they're the opposite. They're policies most places in the world take for granted. Other industrialized nations take this for granted. By contrast, the ideas of Tea Party Republicans are crazy. Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, Medicare for all. All right. So he talks about... So basically, the thesis of this is that, yeah, these progressive ideas are actually pretty reasonable, and these Tea Party ideas are absolutely insane. So when you compare progressives to the Tea Party, you're really doing a disservice, and it's really lame. And, yeah, that's why I hated the term alt-left. I really do not like the term alt-left. And I know some people use it in, like, a Yankee Doodle Dandy fashion, and that's cool. Like I'm fine with that. Like, I'm not against it, but I really don't like the term alt-left because you're comparing people that want universal health care and people that want basic progressive policies and want a Green New Deal. You're comparing those people to neo-Nazis. That's what you're doing. Because alt-left was framed by the establishment. The establishment framed the alt-left to compare it to the alt-right. So, yeah. And I know some people Yankee Doodle Dandied it. But still, I mean, it's just such a gross false equivalency. So anyway.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.